Have you ever heard of the Las Lunas inscription? What's that? The Ten Commandments written in Hebrew found in Las Lunas, New Mexico, dated back to about 3,000 years ago. I think I figured out who wrote them. The reason that they know they were written in Hebrew and that it's the Ten Commandments was because the writing on them is exactly the same as tablets found at Tel Dan. And that is in northern Israel, which is why they dated back, written in Aramaic, to 3,000 years ago. The Tel Dan tablets were found in upper northern Israel in the area that Dan would have occupied. So Dan gets a tiny little section right there, right next door to Naphtali. Bit of a closer look. We got Naphtali, pinch there for Dan, and then we go over here to Manasseh. Now follow me. Based on the blessings that Jacob, whose name becomes Israel, gives to his sons, I'm looking at Gad, Asher, and Naphtali, okay? So to Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher, his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. The Hebrew strong word is delicacy, delight, or luxurious food. Naphtali is a hind, let loose, he giveth goodly words. So freedom. That's his blessing. Let's start with Asher. So Asher's blessing is going to be something that yields a lot of luxurious foods. Who is the largest exporter of natural resource foods? It's going to be the Americas, right? Interestingly, Ethiopians claim descent from Asher. And that's interesting because if you look at the migration map for out of Africa, over Berignia, through Asia, over Berignia, into the Americas, that would line up. If the tribe of Asher ends up mixing in with, let's say, the Ethiopians and then makes their way over and either blends with natives that were already here, because I know that they primarily descend from Japheth, but I also know that they got to blend in them somewhere down the line. That would bring a little bit of Hebrew over to the Americas, wouldn't it? Like thousands of years ago. And that would jive with the blessing he got. Now Naphtali gets freedom. What place was the freest for thousands of years? The Americas. Native Americans roamed free. So that jives. Also interesting that the Ethiopians claim descent from him. So again, let's say Naphtali ends up in Ethiopia, hooks up with some locals, and eventually some of the tribe ends up either scattering downwards to Africa, and some went up over through Berignia, or even across, straight to the Americas. And lastly, we have Gad. Now this one's interesting. So again, Ethiopians claim descent from Gad. It doesn't surprise me because it wasn't too far away from Israel. But the Nigerians also claim descent from him. Nigerian being a little bit closer to the west coast, I think that, you know how there's a lot of Africans that claim that they are the 12 tribes of Israel? Well, they wouldn't be all 12. Let's not be greedy. You have some, yes. But the ones who believe that they are Hebrew Israelites, they might actually descend from Gad, which means that they came over across, and forget about Columbus and the Vikings settling first. No, they didn't, because obviously the Israelites. And I know that the prophecy has already been fulfilled in Genesis 28, 13, and 14, which was God's promise to Jacob, whose name becomes Israel, that his descendants would be like the dust of the earth, all over everything. And I know it would take up until now for us to all get it in us, but the natives would have gotten it in them a lot sooner than the rest of us who eventually mixed and spread across the earth. So my pick for who wrote the Las Tunas tablets is going to be Naphtali, because again, it's right next door to Dan, and that's where the Tel Dan tablets were found. I think that the black people that believe they're Hebrew Israelites I think they descend from Gad. I think that, let's say you get some Naphtali in North America, perhaps you get some Asher going to South America and blending over there, and you get some Gad over more towards the East Coast in that area. What do you think?